This edition of MacVoices is supported by you, our viewers and listeners, through our new Patreon campaign. If you get value from MacVoices, please consider helping support the show by visiting patreon.com/MacVoices.
MacVoices is in Las Vegas for CES and ShowStoppers. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Peter of Qwertyfree. He's going to show us 5-key shift, a new kind of keyboard that just came out on the App Store. Peter, welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Chuck. Glad to be here.
So take us through this. This looks very interesting. First of all, give me a little overview of what it is.
Okay, 5-key shift is our first application. It's for iOS only, and it's a custom keyboard extension. So when you download our app, you will now have an extra keyboard on your phone to use. It's basically a keyboard that does not use buttons, but rather uses gestures. So instead of typing that third button in the second row from the left, you're sliding in a direction like left or right. So we've mapped the entire keyboard to simple 1 or 2 slide gestures, and therefore you can type on a touchscreen without looking at it, as long as you understand and learn the gesture system.
Okay, so is this intended for me as a one-handed use, or is this an accessibility thing for visually impaired?
Well, that's a great question, Chuck. What we did is we wanted to focus our efforts on a certain marketplace, and so we thought, we can make a keyboard for the visually impaired. So we started there, but it turns out that it seems like we hit a sweet spot with iPad users, because the keyboard on an iPad requires a lot more hand movement, and it's kind of big, and if you're holding it especially it's hard to type, a little harder to type. So with our keyboard, you can simply type using our gestures on one corner of the keyboard, and you don't have to move your fingers all over the place to type. So it's turning out to be something that most anybody could use, and we're really excited to bring it out for the visually impaired, the mobility impaired, as well as everybody else out there.
So let's see a little bit of it. How does this work?
Okay, so if you look on the screen here, you see a blank keyboard. I'm in Notes right now on my iPhone. And so I've got a little demo mode turned on, so you can actually, on the screen, see where my thumb is moving as I type. So the keyboard, as you can see here, is broken out into 4 quadrants. The alphabet is divided so that the first 6 letters of the alphabet are in the left or blue quadrant, and then working our way around clockwise, we get to the rest of the alphabet, ending with Z in the lower or down quadrant. So to type a letter in any of the quadrants over here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the blue quadrant, or the first quadrant. To type the letters here, you simply slide in the direction indicated by the letter. For example, A and E, those are 2 of the most often typed letters in the English language. So they're larger than the rest, they're more important as as far as letter frequency goes. So we wanted to make them the easiest to type. So the letter A and the E are all single slide keys. To type the letter A, you simply slide in the direction of left, and a longer distance than to type the letter E. So I will do that right now. I will slide left, and when I let go, I've typed the letter A. If you notice, there's a little spotlight indicator. Now, right now, that little yellow dot is before the little black arc. That indicates we're in the short distance mode. The letter E would be typed now if I released it. So I'm going to go and release it, and we'll type the letter E. So basically, the A and the E are a single swipe in the left direction. One is longer than the other. Now the letter C, for example, then would be a starting slide left, and then I slide up and release. So basically, any letter can be typed by 1 or 2 slides, and it just depends on which direction your first slide is and which direction your second slide is, if you indeed need a second slide. And as you can see, the speed of the slide doesn't matter. So you can go as slow as you want or as fast as you want to type that letter. So I will go ahead and start again, and I'll just type the first 6 letters of the alphabet pretty quickly. I'll go A. B is actually long left, and then you come back. C, again, we know that. D is a short left, so as long as my yellow indicator doesn't go past that arc, if I come back to the right, I'll type the letter D, and then E again is a short left, and then F would be left and down. So the rest of the alphabet is done the same way. And until we've accomplished typing all the letters, we can go from A to Z in this method.
What kind of speed can you achieve with this? I mean, I'd imagine that it takes a little while, but once you get it up and running.
Yeah, so we were just showing it to some attendees, and they're picking it up very quickly. Some people can pick it up very quickly. Once you understand the layout and the reason why we've laid out the keys the way we have, it becomes a lot easier to understand, and in fact, some of the keys, you can kind of guess what they are based on what you know previously. So I would say in 15 minutes of use, you'll have a pretty good understanding of it, and after an hour or two, you'll become pretty good at it, and probably with a day or two under your belt, you'll be able to type without looking at all.
Okay. It's almost impossible here, but you do have some audio cues built into this as well.
Yes, I do. So every action on the keyboard has an audio feedback, if you will. I have it hooked up to a speaker right here. I don't know if you can hear it, but if I type a letter, you'll hear the voice indicating that. So if you're visually impaired, you get some kind of feedback. We also have haptic feedback on the iPhone. So when you're sliding, if you're in the short direction, it'll be a little dot of a tap on your vibration on your phone. And then once you pass that threshold to where now you're in a long slide, it'll be a harder tap. So you have physical haptic feedback as well as visual feedback and audio feedback to see to learn and understand what's going on.
Type something and we'll try the audio feedback, see if we can get it.
Okay, so I'm going to put space here. So one of the things I didn't mention is the space key is the most often typed key it's the largest key on the keyboard, right? So we made that the easiest. You just tap anywhere on the key. So I'm going to go ahead and type
E-L-L-O space M-Y space N-A-M-E space I-S space P-E-T-E-R.
So and that obviously it's a Bluetooth speaker, so that's coming out of my iPhone if I'm using it, but I'm also getting the haptic feedback.
Right, that is correct. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for anybody to learn with all the feedback that we have, and the layout is pretty intuitive. I've had a lot of people compliment us that's saying, you know, it kind of looks overwhelming at first, but then once you get down to it, it's like, hey, it's not so bad, it's pretty easy. We also have numbers as well, and the rest of the characters of the alphabet. So there's a whole lot going on, and once you kind of get into it and understand the concepts, it's pretty easy to learn and understand, and pretty soon you'll be up and running in no time.
Now this is on the App Store now.
Yes, it is on the App Store right now. You could search Qwertyfree or 5-Key Shift. It's $4.99. And we've been out on the App Store for a little over a couple weeks now.
Thank you, Peter. Good job.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
And I'm sure there's a website.
Yes, you can go to Qwertyfree.com. That's Qwerty free. So it's the top row of the keyboard, spelling Qwertyfree.com.
Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Folks, more from CES and ShowStoppers in Las Vegas. Thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple Tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.